Disabled daters talk Tinder horse successes. Disabled people on Tinder. Now this is going to be very ableist. So if you're triggered by ableism, turn it off. A few months back, when I was searching for stuff to make videos about, I found this Vimeo video of a trailer of a movie, of a documentary. And if you wanna make any sort of pornography and make it seem artsy and high-minded, just call it a documentary. That'll work. Anyway, this documentary, very beautiful, erotic, artful documentary, was about disabled people, both mentally and physically, and their sex lives. And the trailer, which is only a couple minutes long, made me sick. I saw some shit in that I wish I didn't see. And somebody is glorifying this and making it seem like it's a absolutely wonderful thing. Look, disabled people are horny too, and they act like animals too. They act like disgusting, I don't want to say pig anymore. At least a pig has personality. Disabled dating on Twitter, and this comes from The Guardian. If I remember to link to it, I remember to link to it. No guarantees. It's all in the description below. By the way, if you're going to ask me something about something, look in the description. All right? Just takes one click. It's not that difficult to do. All right? Disabled dating on Tinder. People ask if I can have sex. Everyone dreads being swiped left. Swiped left. What if you use a wheelchair? Better to show it or not? Disabled singles talk about creepy messages, insulting suitors, and the dates that restored their faith in romance. Oh, your faith. Your faith. What wonderful faith you have. I cut my wheelchair out of any photo I put on Tinder, says Courtney Hall, a 19-year-old sixth form student in Banbury, Oxfordshire. It's like, then they can get to know me for me. That even if your legs are useless, you can still be a depraved slut. The swipe function of Tinder may have become synonymous with criticisms of a more shallow, disposable take on dating, but for Hall, who has cerebral palsy and epilepsy, downloading the app last year was a chance to free herself from the snap judgments she has had to deal with offline. I never get approached in bars when I'm out with my friends, where a guy can see me in person, she says. I feel as if they look at me and just see the wheelchair. That's because they don't want to have babies with you because you're crippled. You are genetically defective. And now you're morally defective. There's nothing redeemable about you. Look, I feel bad for disabled people. I really do. But when they go around acting like this, acting like people who are completely thankless for the fact that they aren't disabled, those who are abusive towards the disabled, towards children, towards anybody in a vulnerable position, I think they're irredeemable. They have no heart. So let's just get that out of the way. But let us not make the mistake of believing that just because you are disabled or you're a child, that means you're free of any criticism. You're beyond reproach. There's more article. Let's read it. Last month, Tinder users took to social media to expose the discrepancy between their Tinder photos and what they really look like. See, look, even if you can see it, it can still lie. What your eyes see tell what percent of the story. It's pretty low. It's like people asking all the time, ooh, give me evidence for God. What, God's on trial? Okay, great. Here's XYZ evidence. Let me tell you something. There are people to this day that believe that George Zimmerman should have been put in jail for killing Trayvon Martin, even though he did so in self-defense. There are people that think Michael Brown didn't do anything wrong, despite the fact that he beat up a convenience store clerk. And I think he stole something, but, the fact that he shoved around a convenience store clerk, that was caught on video. You can go see it, and yet people still think, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. It's the white hetero hegemony that killed him, and I don't want to hear it. You can have very clear evidence pointing to something, and they'll still deny it. Anyway, last month, Tinder, blah, blah, blah. Think flattering angles, body contrasts, and this is what they're talking about, how they deceive through the camera, these disabled people on Tinder. Think flattering angles, body contrasts, and blow dries versus double chins, coffee-stained t-shirts, and bed hair. Unknowingly, a fleeting trend pointed to the dilemma that disabled online daters routinely find themselves in. Do I show my disability in the photo? And if not, or for the many people whose disability isn't visible, when do I tell somebody or someone I'm disabled? Michelle Middleton, 26, from Liverpool, has cerebral palsy and walks with a limp. But as she rarely uses a wheelchair, there's no obvious giveaway in a photo. Unlike Hall Middleton, who has been on Twitter for a little under a year but hasn't logged in for a month, seems to miss the simplicity of meeting someone face-to-face in a bar. It's either the bar or Tinder. These are all from the British Isles. These people, they're all from the British Isles. And, yeah, it gives me a lot of faith. I'm glad I place my faith in man. Makes me a very happy person. Then, as soon as they see me walk, they know. Online, because they can't see you. You can't see me. You have to force it, she says. You never really know how to get it into conversation. Middleton, who is currently setting up a disability awareness business, speaks with a straight-talking confidence, but online she found herself trying various methods to broach the subject. When she first joined, she opted for trying to get to know them first, messaging someone for about a week before talking about her disability. But after one man responded by accusing her of lying, she felt she had to get it in quicker. She says she'll always remember the first guy she told. It was so awkward, she laughs. I'd never been in that situation where I had to try to sell myself and cerebral palsy to someone who hadn't met me. His first question was, oh, right, does it affect you sexually? Google the phrase Tinder sex messages, and it's clear that you don't have to be disabled to get this particular kind of attention. But being a disabled woman often means facing men who have a particular fixation on disabled sexuality, whether they're on or offline. Hall tells me one reason she tried online dating was that men in bars kept buying her drinks, only so they could ask about her disability. Now on Tinder, she finds that after she tells men she's disabled, they often reply to ask if she can have sex. That's the first thing that pops in their mind, she says. Well, shouldn't that tell you something about what this platform promotes, what people use this platform for, the purpose of it? I want love and romance. I don't want people to accept me for me. Yeah, sure. Sure, that's what you want. You just don't like the fact that people are so direct about it. You want what they want. You want quick, easy bullshit that will leave you a husk. A bitter husk that you drink away, and that's why you bitch about, oh, if I drink, that means I can't consent. I'm going to tell you something. To all those people that think this is just a bowel movement and it's healthy and natural and everybody should do it. I mean, let me just tell you something. A man and his wife, they can engage in sexual intercourse without getting liquored up because there's no guilt involved. They trust each other. They're joined in holy matrimony. There's nothing wrong with it. But people who have more than one sex partner a week, more than one sex partner a month, more than one sex partner a year, they sleep around and then they think, oh, it's fun. But the morning after, when they do their thing that they do, the dumb shit they do all day, every day, that's always in the back of their mind. Oh man, I gave myself up. I lathered myself up into this hedonistic state where I don't behave like a typical human, like a normal, decent human. I do this with strangers. I show this side of myself to strangers. Gosh, this is really fucking me up inside my head. I better start doing it again, except this time I'm going to get pissed drunk before I do it because that'll make everything better. And if it doesn't, I'll just say it's rape. You see, wheelchair girl here has a problem with the fact that these men aren't giving her the plausible deniability she so craves. Even when they are crippled. Even when nature humbles them. They remain duplicitous. It's insane. You think I've been dealt a bad hand, maybe I should calm down and be thankful that it isn't worse. No, I'm going to keep behaving like every other 21st century lady does. Okay, where did I leave off here? Because this is painful, but I'm in too deep. Middleton tells me she thinks she has now received every awkward and patronizing question online. Do you have sex? Do you look really bad when you walk? Would you have to bring your wheelchair on our date? My best was, so that's why you're single then. But Hall remembers the positive responses just as much. There was a great guy from Tinder I dated last March. We went to see Jurassic Park on a date and I had a fit in the cinema. I vomited on myself and him, she laughs. His reaction wasn't, oh my god, that's disgusting. It was, oh my god, how can I help her? You don't expect that, but it's nice when it happens. I think the dude was like, man, I'd look like a real asshole if I just ran off and freaked out, or ran off or freaked out right now. I guess I better help. I don't feel too good about doing this. I feel really guilty that I'm about to have sex with a wheelchair girl. See, even he wants plausible deniability. What did I say about white people and wanting to avoid quantifying their moral failings? It's real easy to point to crime statistics and IQ statistics, but it's a little more difficult to put your finger on the impulse that leads you to the thought where you think, I should have sex with wheelchair girl and girl who has epileptic fits where she vomits. I'm so desperate to jizz that this is what I will do to get it. Continuing. They broke up a few months later, but Hall is confident that the relationship didn't break down because of her disability. It broke down because he wanted a different disability girl. Oh yeah, this time I want a girl with polio. Oh yeah, I'm getting hard thinking about polio. She adds that she waited 2 weeks to tell him she was disabled. That's the longest I've left it, actually, she says. I really liked him. I thought, will this change things? That fear is understandable. Last October, after being on Tinder for 8 months, Middleton got to know someone who wasn't bothered when she told him about her disability. But once I got offline meeting in a pub one evening, things seemed to change. The date seemed to be going well until he asked me why I'd said I had a mild disability, she said. I asked what he meant. He said, oh, come on, babe. You said you limped, and it was mild. But that's a lot more than a limp, and definitely not mild. There's no getting away from that. He saw nothing wrong in what he'd said. I was so shocked that I immediately left. You wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say to a fat person, oh, you didn't say you were that fat. Well, why not? As with any form of dating for disabled or non-disabled people, there's a large element of searching for gems while trawling through a sea of human beings who are best avoided, but many of the negative reactions stem from ignorance or awkwardness around disability, or simply unfamiliarity with even speaking to a disabled person. I've spoken to disabled people before. It's pretty easy. You talk about normal people stuff. I mean, isn't that the whole idea behind anti-ableism? That you just treat them like they're people?